There was no give, and that's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see if that Louisiana heat could mess with the adhesion, and it did not. I actually expected more rain, and right when I was bringing the guns in at the end of the night, we did get a bigger downpour, but it just didn't hit the angles that I thought it would. Normally that table gets soaked when it rains, but it didn't this time around. So what's good, everybody? Welcome back to Whole Views. Today we have the beginnings of another Firearm Friday video. So here today we're going to be talking about a couple of shotguns, and we're actually going to be running a test. I'm saying Firearms Friday, but I'm thinking it's Monday, and you know this is going to take several steps for us to get through, so we're getting started early, right? On the table here we have a Mossberg 590 Shockwave, right? You know, it has the SB tactical brace on it. I took one shot with the bird's head grip and said no thank you. No thank you at all. I'm going to get rid of that, and instantly picked up the SB tactical brace. This is my old, very old, I don't know how many years now, Mossberg 500. We have an XS big dot sight on the front. We have Hogue furniture for extra grip. I actually planned on hunting because at one point I had a longer barrel to go with this, but I think I sold it or something like that. I don't remember exactly what happened, but I do recall having this one set up for more like the option of hunting. I still have the rod, the dowel to put in limited capacity, and I would take this thing out and shoot it, so you know you got the grip on there for, you know, possibly being wet and possibly trying to take some birds or some squirrels or something, you know, with the right shot. So what I'm doing is I will be cleaning these up and adding the Velcro shotgun side saddles. Now I've had the plastic hard side saddle for quite some time. As a matter of fact, I just saw it. Let me get it. This plastic side saddle bolts onto a Mossberg 500 or the 590. And I've never felt comfortable moving around, like having to take it out and maybe bang it up into stuff or drop it with this bolt attached to it. It always messed with me as far as like thinking this could mess up this aluminum receiver on either one of these guns, and possibly, you know, if you got to take it apart and do things to it, I still need a little special Allen key and things like that. So I've been persuaded via looking at a bunch of videos on the internet to go with Velcro over the sides, that it wouldn't cover my little pins to take out in each spot, as well as having multiple cards that I can put on here or on here and actually have shells stored up to where I can just pull out a card and slap it on there. Now at this point where we at, I don't actually have my Velcro cards in because I ordered a set off of Amazon. The test that I'm going to be running is going to be about the stickiness of the Amazon set, which is going on the 590 Shockwave, and a Walmart Velcro set that will be going on the old school 500. Okay, so both of the shotguns now have the Amazon packaged soft Velcro attached to them. I decided to change my mind because the cards and everything came in, and the Walmart Velcro that was placed on the 500 is just not, it wasn't big enough to cover the entire surface that the sticky surface on the cards had. So both are now set up, and we're gonna let them sit overnight, and tomorrow both of these are gonna go outside and face the challenge of being outside for 10 to 12 hours in that heat. Also possible rain. Also, we just showing off a little bit closer detail the Primary Arms red dot and Monstrum tactical little Picatinny rail that I put on the top. All that's going outside, and we're gonna see how it holds up in that Louisiana heat and humidity.
Okay, so we have the old fishing table where they used to clean fish. We have the time-lapse camera set up. It's already running. We've been outside for about 10-15 minutes right now. I don't know if you can see the sweat that already started to accumulate on the rifles on the pistols, on the firearms, because it's real cool in the house and it's real hot out here. It's like 88 degrees right now, real humid. We are expected to get some rain later on today, so I'm dedicating at least 12 hours out here in the elements. We're gonna see if this sticky stuff shows any give. There's a little give here, but you know, if it shows any signs of peeling, we're gonna see if the red dot dies out. It's been on for probably about 48 hours by now, or maybe 36. I'm not sure, but it's gonna do a whole nother 12 on medium brightness, and we'll just see if anything starts to rust over or if anything shows signs of not functioning properly, just being out in the elements. So we'll check back.
So we made it through testing and everything else, and honestly, the testing was not really that impressive at all. It was just the gun sitting outside all day. This is the current configuration of the Mossberg 590 Shockwave. It is going to stay in this position. The Velcro did not have any play in it after sitting outside all day. It was just as firm to the receiver as it had been sitting in a safe overnight, so it felt fine. The outside all day testing didn't really show me anything. About the hottest point of the day, the guns were very, very hot to touch when the sun is shining directly on them and everything else, you know, at an angle. And one point of all that did kind of like catch my eyes, like I didn't have moisture much from the rain outside on the external parts, but when I did bring them in at 10:30 that night, I did have moisture on the internals of the like the bolt, the action slide boards in here where you put shells. Like it was like moist in the barrel of both guns, was kind of moist from the sweat. I did not see any difference in the red dot. Like it was on 7 all day. It's been fine at 7 all day. I did notice that the glass did fog up, bringing it outside initially and then bringing it back inside. That temperature change did make it fog up, but besides that, it didn't do anything to have it outside in that extreme heat. It was okay. So Louisiana's weird. Everyone else is getting heat waves and our temperatures are in the 80s, but that's just like the regular temperature. That is not with the humidity and the heat index and all this other stuff. So I think the feels like temperature was like 106 today, and it felt like it, especially in the morning when I was putting them out. And it got better throughout the day because we got some rain, but for the most part it was very hot if it wasn't raining. And these guns did fine outside. Again, current configuration, this is how I want to keep this gun. The only part that I'm missing for it will be a little rail attachment that goes in between the cap and the barrel, and it'll give me a little rail section to stick my light on, the same light that goes on all the guns, with a rechargeable battery. So that'll be what I used on this one. I like the configuration of this one, weighing in right now with a loaded tube. It's not loaded at the moment, but loaded tube, Velcro side saddle, Monstrum tactical rail at the top, red dot, SB tactical brace, all those things. This is weighing in at 7.12 ounces. So I am right at the threshold of what I want any gun to be if it will be used around the house and like carried and, you know, patrolled with, or, you know, used to like, let's leave this out and like grab it if we need it. I don't want to grab something that's 10 pounds, like, or 9 pounds. Like 8 is good, you know. So this one is close to 8 in this configuration, and I like it. I like a shotgun for many reasons. Mainly because I don't get a lot of time to practice, and shot is spreading at distance kind of negates that. You can get rounds on target with a decent spread. I did some measuring and all this, didn't record all the measuring, but that backyard, if you're looking at the footage, the backyard is approximately 125 feet, and in yards that's close to 45 yards. So that's a very good distance. If something is coming, I'm thinking of critters and stuff when I'm talking about this, but you know, we get a coyote or something across that fence line, or some type of wild animal to cross into our yard, and I want to like take it down. This is decent, but it actually has to be charging, because at 45 yards with a shotgun, I don't care if the barrel is 14 and a half like this, or if it's 18 and a half like the other barrel, your pattern is going to be pretty big at that distance. So this is why you also have rifles accessible. But I think this is good, especially like front yard action. I did measure the front yard from, you know, the front to the street, and that is 15 yards. It's like, that's the sweet spot for a shotgun. 15, 20. You don't want to go 30, 40 yards with a shotgun. It's just gonna spread too much. But I do like having it, again, because I believe with a bead sight, or even this red dot that's not perfectly sighted, it's a shotgun, man. It'll spread enough to where I can probably put rounds on target, unless we are like indoors, where you can still probably pretty easily miss, because your spread is just not going to be monumental like that. But also, if you had a close distance, again, you should be able to make that shot, red dot or not. Anyway, I'm rambling, and I'm sorry for that. But I do hope that you enjoyed seeing the process of, you know, trial and error, seeing the Walmart stuff go on and then come off and go with this Amazon setup. I am quite comfortable with it. I did travel with this. You know, people talk about truck guns, and I'm not huge on the concept, but these Velcro shell holders are probably not that durable as far as like riding in a vehicle for extended periods of time. I took this up like on a 20-minute drive to pick someone up so I can show it to someone, and I think my smallest daughter just stepped on it and knocked the shell out. And when we were handling it, I noticed that one of the shells in the back or the front were missing. It's like, yeah, lost in a truck somewhere. So if it banged around a bit, I'm sure these shells would come out. But as far as the stickiness to the actual surface, that's what I was kind of testing, and there's nothing. Like, I pulled a good bit along the bottom, and there was no play in it along this surface. Like, I tried to pull up, and there was no give, and that's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see if that Louisiana heat could mess with the adhesion, and it did not. I actually expected more rain, and right when I was bringing the guns in at the end of the night, we did get a bigger downpour, but it just didn't hit the angles that I thought it would. Normally that table gets soaked when it rains, but it didn't this time around. So anyway, that's all I have for the Firearms Friday. You got to see the install of a few items, and then you got to see the progression outside, and hopefully that stuff is good enough, man. This Primary Arms red dot is a name that I trust. My brother, again, has had one of these. I had this on the AK. My brother had one on his AK years ago, and he used his way more than I used this one. And it held 0 to AK fire, and it traveled with that AK once it left, and he was good to go with it. So I trust it. I think that, you know, it can survive some elements. Again, quite happy with the setup. Quite happy with the 590 Shockwave, and it is gonna be around. Hopefully we can get some shooting footage real soon when I get to go back out there. So anyway, you guys, enjoy yourself, guard your heart, come on back, check out more videos.